Chapter 71. So, the book of the revolutions of the luminaries of heaven. The book of the revelations, the revolutions of the luminaries of heaven according to their respective classes, their respective powers, their respective periods, their respective names, the places where they commence, their progress, their respective months, which Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, explained to me, he who conducts them, the whole account of them according to every year of the world forever, until a new work shall be effected, which will be eternal. So, this is the first law of the luminaries. The sun and the light arrive at the gates of heaven, which are on the east and on the west of it, at the western gates of heaven. I beheld the gates whence the sun goes forth, and the gates where the sun sets, in which gates also the moon rises and sets, and I beheld the conductors of the stars, among those who precede them. 6 gates were at the rising, and 6 at the setting of the sun. All these respectively, one after another, are on a level, and numerous windows are on the right and on the left side of those gates. First proceeds forth that great luminary, which is called the sun, the orb, which is the orb of heaven, the whole of it being replete with splendid and flaming fire. Its chariot, where it ascends, the wind blows. So the sun has a chariot. The sun sets in heaven, and returning by the north to proceed towards the east, is conducted so as to enter by that gate and illuminate the face of heaven. In the same manner it goes forth in the same month by a great gate. It goes forth through the fourth of those 6 gates. It goes forth in the first month by a great gate. It goes forth through the fourth of those 6 gates, which are at the rising of the sun. In the fourth gate, through which the sun with the moon proceeds, in the first part of it there are 12 open windows, from which issues out a flame, when they are opened at their proper periods. When the sun rises in heaven, it goes forth through the fourth gate 30 days, and by the fourth gate in the west of heaven on a level with it descends. During that period the day is lengthened from that day, and the night curtailed from that night for 30 days. And when the day is longer by 2 parts than the night, the day is precisely 10 parts, and the night is 8. The sun goes forth through the fourth gate, and sets in it, and turns to the fifth gate during the 30 days, after which it proceeds from and sets in the fifth gate. So this sounds like those astrological houses. Then the day becomes lengthened by a second portion, so that it is 11 parts, while the night becomes shortened, and it is only 7 parts. The sun now returns to the east, entering into the 6th gate, and rising and setting in the 6th gate 31 days on account of its signs. At that period the day is longer than the night, being twice as long as the night, and becomes 12 parts. But the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. Then the sun rises up, that the day may be shortened, and the night lengthened, and the sun returns towards the east, entering into the 6th gate, where it rises and sets for 30 days. When that period is completed, the day becomes shortened precisely 1 part, so that it is 11 parts, while the night is 7 parts. So the day becomes shortened precisely 1 part, so that it is 11 parts, while the night is 7 parts. Then the sun goes forth then the sun goes from the west, from the sixth gate, and proceeds eastwards, rising in the fifth gate for 30 days, and setting again westwards in the fifth gate of the west. At that period, the day becomes shortened 2 parts and is 10 parts, while the night is 8 parts. Then the sun goes forth from the fifth gate as it sets in the fifth gate of the west, and rises in the fourth gate for 31 days on account of its signs, setting in the west. At that period, the day is made equal with the night, and being equal with it, the night becomes 9 parts, while the day 9 parts. And 9 is the womb. 9 is that sperm, the egg. And when this is 9 plus 9, it's 1 plus 8. 18 is 9. 9 is 3 and 3. 3 infinity. 3 is the tree. 3 in 1, Neo, and Trinity in the Matrix. 9. So when they have this equilibrium, they have a yin, yang, 9, 9, light and day, night and dark, black, white. At that period, the day is made equal with the night, and being equal with it, the night becomes 9 parts and the day 9 parts. Then the sun goes from that gate as it sets in the west, and returning to the east proceeds by the third gate for 30 days, setting in the west at the third gate. At that period the night is lengthened from the day during 30 mornings, and the days curtailed from the day during 30 days, the night being 10 parts precisely, and the day 8 parts. The sun now goes from the third gate as it sets in the third gate in the west, but returning to the east, it proceeds by the second gate of the east for 30 days. In like manner also it sets on the second gate in the west of heaven. At that period the night is 11 parts, the day is 7 parts. Then the sun goes at that time from the second gate as it sets in the second gate in the west, but returns to the east, proceeding by the first gate for 31 days, and sets in the west in the first gate. At that period the night is lengthened as much again as day. It is 12 parts precisely, while the day is 6 parts. So we have a different ratio. So we have 12 parts and 6 parts. So we have a third. The sun has thus completed its beginnings, and a second time goes around from these beginnings. Into that gate it enters for 30 days and sets in the west, in the opposite part of heaven. In that period the night is contracted in its length, a 4th part. So now it's saying a 4th part instead of, okay, fine. That is 1 portion and becomes 11 parts. The day is 7 parts. Then the sun returns and enters into the second gate of the east. It returns by these beginnings, 30 days, rising and setting. At that period the night is contracted in its length. It becomes 10 parts, and the day 8 parts. Then the sun goes from that second gate and sets in the west, but returns to the east and rises in the east. In the third gate, 31 days, setting in the west of heaven. At that period the night becomes shortened. It is 9 parts, and the night is equal with the day. The year is precisely 364 days. The lengthening of the day and night, and the contraction of the day and night are made to differ from each other by the progress of the sun. By means of this progress, the day is daily lengthened and the night greatly shortened. This is the law and progress of the sun and its turning when it turns back, turning during 60 days and going forth. This is the great everlasting luminary, that which he names the sun forever and ever. Wow. So we just read the workings of the sun. Very technical, very, very technical, very technical. So it's like a guidebook to how it actually works. And this is a luminary. So luminaries are governed by Uriel, and he is the one who's explaining this to Enoch, to us inadvertently. And this is the cycles of the sun and the ratios that the luminary takes. So this is seemingly like a very mechanical object, but at the same time is called a luminary. Yeah, it's like a program. So this is the code of the program. This also that which goes forth a great luminary, and which is named after its peculiar kind, as God commanded, and thus it goes in and out, neither slackening nor resting, but running on in its chariot by day and by night. It shines with the seventh portion of light from the moon, but the dimensions of both are equal. The dimensions of both are equal. It shines with the seventh portion of the light from the moon, but the dimensions of both are equal. Okay. After this law, I beheld another law of an inferior luminary, the name of which is the moon, the orb which is as the orb of heaven. Its chariot, which it secretly ascends, the wind blows, and light is given to it by measure. Every month at its exit and entrance it becomes changed, and its period are as the periods of the sun. And when in like manner its light is to exist, its light is a seventh portion, the light of the sun. Thus it rises, and its commencement towards the east goes forth for 30 days. At that time it appears and becomes to you the beginning of the month. 30 days it is when the sun in the gate from which the sun goes forth. Half of it in extent 7 portions, one half, and the whole of its orb is void of light, except a 7th portion out of the 14 portions of its light. And in a day it receives a 7th portion, or half that portion of its light. Its light is by sevens, by 1 portion, and by half of a portion. It sets with the sun, and when the sun rises, the moon rises with it, receiving half a portion of light. On that night, when it commences its period, previously to the day of the month, the moon sets with the sun, and on that night it is dark in its 14 portions, that is, in each half, but it rises in that day with 1/7 portion precisely, and in it progress declines from the rising of the sun. During the remainder of its period, its light increases to 14 portions. Then I saw another progress and regulation which he effected in the law of the moon, the progress of the moons and everything related to them. Uriel showed me the holy angel who conducted them all. Their stations I wrote down as he showed them to me. I wrote down their months as they occur and the appearance of their light until it is completed in 15 days. In each of its 7 portions it completes all its light at rising and at setting. On stated months, it changes its settings. It changes its own settings. And it's funny that they say like settings. Like a computer has settings. And on stated months, it makes its progress through each gate. In 2 gates, the moon sets with the sun. In these 2 gates, which are in the midst, in the 3rd and 4th gate. From the 3rd gate it goes forth for 7 days and makes its circuit. circuit, circle, round, orbit. It's like a watch. Again, it returns to the gate whence the sun goes forth, and in that completes the whole of its light. Then it declines from the sun and enters in 8 days into the 6th gate and returns in 7 days to the 3rd gate from which the sun goes forth. When the sun proceeds to the 4th gate, the moon goes forth for 7 days until it passes from the 5th gate. Again it returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, and completing all its light declines and passes on by the 1st gate in 8 days, and returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, from which the sun goes forth. Thus I beheld their stations, as according to the fixed order of the months the sun rises and sets. At those times there is an excess of 30 days belonging to the sun in 5 years. All the days belonging to each year of the first 5 years when completed amount to 364 days, and to the sun and stars belonging 6 days in each of the 5 years, thus 30 days belong to them, so that the moon has 30 days less than the sun and stars. The moon brings on all the years exactly, that their stations may come neither too forwards nor too backwards a single day, but that the years may be changed with correct precision in 364 days. And 3 years, in 3 years the days are 1,092. In 5 years there are 1,820, 1820, and in 8 years 2,912, 2912. To the moon alone belong in 3 years 1,062 days. In 5 years so in 3 years it has 1,062 days. 1062. 5 years it has 50 days less than the sun, for an addition being made to the 1,062 days. In 5 years there are 1,770 days, and the days of the moon in 8 years are 2,832 days. Wow. Okay, so I'm actually reading this trying to wonder why this is important. I guess it is important, but why was it relevant? Like, you go to heaven and then they start telling you these numbers. So that's very interesting. So this might be the most interesting part of the book to me, although it's the part of the book that I quite understand the least. And then that's why it's so interesting, because this is so mysterious. There's much more to what's being said than I comprehend. But the fact that I now know that I don't know makes it so interesting. And this actually reminds me of when I was reading the genealogy in Genesis or in Luke or in Chronicles or in the Apocrypha. When I was reading the genealogy, when you're reading, like, all right, so Cain bore Enoch, Enoch bore Enosh, Enosh bore Lamech, Lamech bore Methuselah. Like, when you're just reading that, that's a very, very boring recollection of events. But what I did find out is that that is actually the most important part of the book, in the whole sense that Genesis is the genealogy. So this is something that's giving me the same type of feeling, that it's so dry, but I think there's a lot more to it that I would really want to understand more. Speaking about the stars. 15. For its days in 8 years are less than those of the sun by 8 days, with 80 days are its diminution in 8 years. The year then becomes truly complete according to the station of the moons and the station of the sun, which rise in the different gates, which rise and set in them for 30 days. These are the leaders of the chiefs of the thousands, those which preside over all creation and over all the stars, with the 4 days which are added and never separated from the place allotted them, according to the complete computation. Again, speaking about this software, settings, computation, mechanics, numbers, digits, codes, constellations, names, languages, it's all like a supercomputer programming, coding lesson. And these serve 4 days, which are not computed in the computation of the year. Respecting them, men greatly err, for these luminaries truly serve in the mansion of the world. 1 day in the first gate, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the sixth, and the harmony of the world becomes complete every 364th state of it. Wow, it's speaking about the circadian cycles, the rhythm of the earth, for the signs, the seasons, the years. This is in Genesis 4. In fact, let's go there quickly. Genesis 1. And God said, "Let there be light," and then there was light. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Okay. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Before I go any further, you should really watch the video on the days of creation through numerology. It's very important. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, and herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said, "Let the lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, and give light upon earth." And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And God saw it was good. And the evening and the morning and the evening and the morning were the 4th day. All right. Beautiful. So here, respecting the men greatly err, for these luminaries truly serve in the mansion of the world. 1 day in the first gate, 1 in the third gate, 1 in the fourth, and 1 in the sixth gate. And the harmony of the world becomes complete every 364th state of it. For the signs, the seasons, the years, and the days, Uriel showed me the angel whom the Lord of glory appointed over all the luminaries of heaven, in heaven, and in the world, that they might rule in the face of the sky, and appearing over the earth, become conductors, conductors, conductors of the day and nights, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the ministers, little stars, ministers of heaven, which make their circuit. It's an electrical term, circuit with all the chariots of heaven. Thus Uriel showed me 12 gates open for the circuit of the chariots of the sun in heaven, from which the rays of the sun shoot forth. From these proceed heat over the earth when they are opened in their stated season. So these are 12 gates. 12 is a very important number, especially now, because we're speaking of the year having 364 states, 364 days, and each state has a luminary. And this is also interesting because Enoch now is revealing to us that he actually knew about the rhythm of a year, leap years, all of the cycles of even the super years, like when God says a day for me is 1,000 years, things like that. When we look at the ages that are changing, like for example, if he was in the age of Gemini, and if they were going to an age of Leo or Taurus or Aries, these are also governed by these star signs or constellations. And this is what he knew. So this is what Uriel was actually showing him. So Uriel showed me the 12 gates open for the circuit of the chariots. These 12 gates being the 12 different star signs, which are the 12 different apostles, the 12 different brothers of Joseph and his 12 brothers. The 12 gates in the city of Zion, and the 12 months in a year. So Uriel showed me 12 gates open for the circuit and the chariots of the sun in heaven, from which the rays of the sun shoot forth. So when the light is in the sun, which is the main luminary on the earth in this world, when it's shining in these areas, when the chariots take it there, because these are chariots, they just don't do it. So these chariots, when they're taken there, the light shines differently, and this affects us, because it says here, respecting them, men greatly err, for these luminaries truly serve, just like how the sun serves us. The sun is like, we have to know when the sun is about to rise so that we act accordingly. At the same time, we have no control over it, but it serves us. Just like how a watch serves you, even though you have no control over your time, but it's your servant. So the same way that these luminaries are functioning, it's an algorithm, it's a system, it's a mechanic, and it can be understood. It's not necessary to understand it. It is beneficial because it is in your service, but what you have to understand is what you are supposed to do. And what we have to understand is what he was supposed to do with this information. So let's read on and find out. 11. From these proceed heat over the earth when they are opened in their stated seasons. They are for the winds and the spirits of the dew, when in their seasons they are opened in heaven at its extremities. 12 gates I beheld in heaven, at the extremities of the earth, through which the sun, moon, and stars, and all the works of heaven proceed at their rising and setting. Many windows also are open on the right and on the left. One window at a certain season grows extremely hot. So also are they gates from which the stars go forth as they are commanded. and in which they set according to their number. I saw likewise the chariots of heaven, running in the world above to those gates in which the stars turn, which never set. One of these is greater than all, which goes around the whole world. Okay. And the extremities of the earth I beheld 12 gates open for all the winds, from which they proceed to blow over the earth. 3 of them are open in front of heaven, 3 in the west, 3 in the right side of heaven, and 3 on the left. The first 3 are those which are towards the east, 3 are towards the north, 3 behind those which are upon the left towards the south, and 3 towards the west. So 3 times 4, 12. From 4 of them proceed winds of blessing and of health, and from 8 proceed winds of punishment. Whoa. So only 4 for blessing, but more, 8, double that, are for punishment. When they are sent to destroy the earth and the heaven above it, all its inhabitants, and all which are in the waters or in dry land. The first of these winds proceed from the gate termed the eastern, through the first gate on the east, which inclines southwards. From this goes forth destruction, drought, heat, and perdition. From the second gate, the middle one, proceed equity. These issue their issue from it rain, actual rain, and equity, rain, REIGN, is also rain. This is why judges on the earth are supposed to judge with equanimity. There is the issue from it rain, fruitfulness, health, and dew. And this is also why kings pray for rain. Those who reign pray for rain, according to Ethiopian understandings. Here, proceed forth health, blessing, health, dew, and from the third gate northward proceed cold and drought. After these proceed the south winds through 3 principal gates, through their first gate, which inclines eastwards towards a hot wind. But from the middle gate proceed grateful odor, dew, rain, health, and life. And from the third gate, which is eastward, proceeds dew, rain, blight, and destruction. After these are the winds to the north, which is called the sea. They proceed from 3 gates. The first gate is that which is on the east, inclining southwards. From this proceed dew, rain, blight, destruction. From the middle direct gate proceed rain, dew, life, and health. And from the third gate, which is eastward, inclining towards the south, proceed mist, frost, snow, rain, dew, and blight. After these, in the fourth quarter, are the winds of the west. From the first gate, inclining northward, proceed dew, rain, frost, cloud, snow, and chill. From the middle gate proceed rain, health, and blessing. And from the last gate, which is southward, proceed drought, destruction, scorching, and perdition. The account of the 12 gates of the 4 quarters of heavens is ended. All their laws, all their infliction of punishment, all their health produced by them, have I explained to thee, my son, Methuselah. So this was being spoken to Methuselah. All right. And that is an interesting piece of information. Okay. Here. Why Methuselah though? All right. Let's first of all do this. I hope my keypad is not too loud, because I did try to shut it down, but it keeps on. It keeps on insisting on making a vibe. Wait. Equanimity, a state of being calm, stable, composed, especially under stress. Very important. All right. And here, okay. Oh. Methuselah. Wine bottle having the capacity of 8 standard bottles. Okay, it's interesting. The oldest person whose age is recorded in the Hebrew Bible, having reportedly lived 969 years, and when you flip the 6 upside down, it's like 999, which is also another number code, but it just shows the longevity. This is 1,000 years, an eon, you know. Any person, like, yeah, to live a whole millennium, yo. Any personal thing that has lived a very old age. All right. So, explain to thee, my son, Methuselah. Okay, cool. The first wind is called the eastern because it is the first. The second is called the south because the Most High there descends, and frequently there descends he who is blessed forever. What? The second wind is called the south because the Most High there descends, and frequently there descends he who is blessed forever. So there's a place where like God comes, and this is the southern wind. The second is the south, the lower. The west wind is the name of diminution because they are all the luminaries of heaven are diminished and descend. The fourth wind, which is named the north, is divided into 3 parts, one of which is for the habitation of man, another for the seas of water, with the valleys, woods, rivers, shady places, snow, and the third part contains paradise. Wait, paradise? Wow, this is just like tripping me out right now. What? 7 high mountains I beheld, higher than all the mountains of the earth, from which frost proceeds, while days, seasons, and years depart and pass away. 7 rivers I beheld upon earth, greater than all the rivers, one of which takes its course from the west into a great sea, its water flows. 2 come from the north of the sea, their waters flowing to the Erythraean Sea on the east. And we've already gone through this Erythraean Sea, which is the Red Sea, which is speaking of Ethiopia and Eritrea. Very, 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 very rich area. Did a lot of trade with Southern Africa. All right, so we came from the north of the sea. There are waters flowing into the Erythraean Sea, and on the this is where pirates come from, by the way. Jack Sparrow, all those stories, Erythraean Sea stories, and there are a lot of texts, ancient texts that were written on the escapades of some of these pirates, how they traveled to places like India, the things they took there, the things they brought there, and how they sailed to other places such as Australia. So it's a pretty interesting area. But however, the Erythraean Sea on the east, with the respect of the remaining 4, they take their course in the cavity of the north to their sea, the Erythraean Sea. The 2 are poured into a great sea, where also it is said there is a desert. 7 great islands I saw in the sea and on the earth. 7 in the great sea. Wow, this book is so deep, yo. It is so, so, so mysterious, so deep. The names of the sun are these. One, Ayares. The other, Thomas. The moon has 4 names. The first is Asonia. The second is Ebla. The third is Benassi. The fourth is Erai. There are 2 great luminaries whose orbs are as the orbs of heaven, and the dimensions of both are equal. In the orb of the sun there is a 7th portion of light which is added to it from the moon. By measure it is put in until the 7th portion of the light of the sun is departed. They enter into the western gate, circuit by the north, and through the eastern gate go forth over the face of heaven. When the moon rises, it appears in heaven, and the half of a 7th portion of light is all which is in it. In 14 days the whole of its light is completed. By three quintuples, light is put into it until 5 parts, fivefold. So 3 quintuples, 15. Light is put into it until in 15 days its light is completed. According to the signs of the year, it has 3 quintuples. The moon has half of a 7th portion. During its diminution, and lessening, decrease, reduction. Diminution, like minutia. During this diminution, the first day its light decreases a 14th part, on the 7th day it decreases a 13th part, on the 3rd day a 12th part, on the 4th day 11th part, on the 5th day 10th part, on the 6th day 9th part, on the 7th day decreases an 8th part, on the 8th day decreases a 7th part, on the 9th day decreases a 6th part, on the 10th day decreases a 5th part, on the 11th day decreases a 4th part, on the 12th day decreases a 3rd part, on the 13th day it decreases a 2nd part, on the 14th day it decreases a half of its 7th part, on the 15th day, and the whole remainder of its light is consumed. On stated months, the moon has 29 days. It also has a period of 28 days. Uriel likewise showed me another regulation. When light is poured into the moon, how it is poured into it from the sun. Wow, poured. All the time that the moon is in progress with its light, it is poured into it in the presence of the sun until its light is in 14 days completed in heaven. And when it is wholly extinguished, its light is consumed in heaven. And on the first day it is called the new moon, for on that day light is received into it. Consumed. They consume light. Like how we consume light. Because every fruit we eat comes from solar energy. Through photosynthesis, we actually do consume light too. But they, on heaven as it is on earth, so they also consume light. That's interesting. It becomes precisely completed on the day that the sun descends into the west while the moon ascends at night from the east. The moon then shines all the night until the sun rises before it, when the moon disappears in turn before the sun. Where light comes to the moon, there again it decreases until all its light is extinguished and the days of the moon pass away. Then its orb remains solitary without light. During 3 months it affects in 30 days each month its period, and during 3 more months it effects it in 29 days each. These are the times in which it effects its decrease in its first period and in the first gate, namely in 177 days. And at that time of its going forth during 3 months it appears 30 days each, and during 3 more months it appears 29 days each. In the night it appears for each 20 days, as the face of a man, in the day as in heaven, for it is nothing else except its light. And now, my son Methuselah, I have shown thee everything, and the account of every ordinance of the stars of heaven is finished. He showed me every ordinance respecting these, which takes place at all times and in all seasons, after every influence, in all years, at the arrival and under the rule of each during every month and every week. Every month? What? What? Wow. Under every influence. Wait. Wow. This is wow. Wow. Mm. Like, that's all I can say. Like, because, like, as I am trying to speak, more information is being poured into me. Like how that light is poured into the moon. All right. He showed me. So now this is Methuselah. And Methuselah, the oldest person who's recorded in the Bible. And what is wisdom's word again? Wisdom says, I am the key to long life. So Methuselah has the longest life. So he has this wisdom that is giving him his long life. So this is what Methuselah knows. This is what this is why even more like wow. Okay, this is brilliant. So let's hear what he says. He showed me every ordinance respecting these which takes place at all times. Now this is what's blowing my mind. So he showed him every ordinance respecting these which takes place at all times. That's mind blowing. At all times, all times, all times. So he always knew what was going to happen. This is why Methuselah is his death shall bring, which is when his death brought the flood, literally, which takes place at all times and in all seasons, under every influence. He knew everything at all times, under in all seasons, under every influence, in all years, every single year. Like he was not gonna get surprised when Trump won because he knew the ordinance respecting these. He knew the ordinance of every season, of every time. He was not gonna be surprised by Brexit. He was not gonna be surprised by Kobe's plane. You know, he was not gonna be caught off guard because of wisdom, because he knew these ordinances. Wow. In all years, at the arrival and under the rule of each, during every month. So not all years, but every month and every week, every single week. Wow. He showed me also the decrease of the moon, which is affected in the sixth gate. For in that sixth gate, it is its light consumed. For this is the beginning of the month, and its decrease is effected in the sixth gate in its period until 177 days are completed according to the mode of computation by weeks, 25 weeks and 2 days. Its period is less than that of the sun according to the ordinance of the sun by 5 days in 1/2 year precisely, when their visible situation is completed. Such is the appearance and likeness of every luminary, which Thiel, what? Thiel, the great angel who conducts them, showed me. Thiel? Okay. Who is Thiel? Wow, I was really looking forward to seeing the etymology of Thiel. Okay. In those days Uriel answered and said to me, Behold, I have showed thee all things, O Enoch. What about Thiel? Okay. Like, I like how this book just brings up stuff out of the blue. It's so many things just brought up. That's why I like books. Like, they will make you think of things you've never thought you'd think. But not only do you think them, you hear them. Not only do you hear them, you imagine them. Not only do you imagine them, you create them. So your brain is like working and it makes these images. Like if you think of a blue bird, you create it in your mind. It's there. So It's very, very powerful to read because it's like you're exercising this spiritual capacity. All right. And all the things I have revealed to thee, thou seest the sun, the moon, and those which can. All right. In those days, Uriel answered and said to me, behold, I have showed thee all things, O Enoch, and all things have I revealed to thee. Wait. I want to see, was this angel? Okay. So this angel is with Methuselah. When that their visible situation completes, such is the appearance and likeness of every luminary. Right, from this beginning of the month to decrease weeks, yes, its period is less than that of the sun, yes. So this is all Methuselah, because in verse 2 he's saying, he showed me every ordinance. 3, from this the beginning of the month. 4, its period is less than that of the sun. 5, then when their visible situation is completed, such is the appearance and likeness of every luminary, which Theo, the great angel who conducts them, showed me. This is Methuselah, right? In those days Uriel answered and said to me, behold, I have showed thee all things, O Enoch, and all things have I revealed to thee. Thou seest the sun, the moon, and all these which conduct the stars of heaven, which cause all their operations, seasons, and arrivals to return. In the days of sinners the years shall be shortened. In the days of sinners the years shall be shortened. Their seed shall be backward in their prolific soil, and everything done on earth shall be subverted. Oof. And disappear in its season. The rain shall be restrained, and heaven shall stand still. In those days the fruit of earth shall be late, and not flourish in their season, and in their season the fruit of the trees shall be withholden. The moon shall change its laws, and not be seen at its proper period, but in those days shall the heaven be seen. Thou seest the sun and the moon, which conducts the stars of heaven, which cause all the apparitions, the seasons, and arrivals to return. So the sun and the moon, in verse 2, which conduct the stars of heaven, which cause all their operations and seasons and arrivals to return. The arrivals of an operation, arrival of a season, it causes it to even return in the days of sinners. So there's a time that Enoch is being told, called the days of sinners. The years shall be shortened. So is this talking about after or before the flood? Is it talking about the flood? Because it's already spoken about the flood in other ways, but when it did speak about the flood, it was referring to water coming on to the earth. So here it says, in the days of sinners the years shall be shortened, their seed shall be backward in their prolific soil, and everything done on earth shall be subverted and disappear in its season. The rain shall be restrained. You see, so from that one statement, the rain being restrained means that it's not a flood, and heaven shall stand still. In those days the fruits of earth shall be late, and not flourish in their season. In their seasons the fruits of the trees shall be withholden. The moon shall change its laws, and not be seen at its proper period, which is very, very, very strange, given how technical everything is already programmed to be. But in those days shall heaven be seen, and barrenness shall take place in the borders of the great chariots of the west. Heaven shall shine more than when illuminated by the orders of light, while many chiefs among the stars of authority shall err, perverting their ways and works. Those shall not appear in their seasons who command them, and all the classes of the stars shall be shut up against sinners. The thoughts of those who dwell on earth shall transgress within them, and they shall be perverted in all their ways. They shall transgress and think themselves gods, while evil shall be multiplied among them, and punishment shall come upon them. so that all of them shall be destroyed. So this is speaking of Hanzi, the sky will be so open that light will just be penetrating the earth, and the stars shall not appear in their seasons, who command them, and all the classes of the stars shall be shut up against sinners, the thoughts of all those who dwell on earth. So it's actually considering what people will be thinking. The thoughts of all those who dwell on earth shall transgress within them. So no one is even going to consider, like, oh, okay, maybe we should talk to God about this. But will be more even, like, will be people on earth will be more bent on their ways, and they shall be perverted in all their ways. They shall transgress and think themselves gods. So this is speaking, I don't feel like this is speaking about the flood, although it is speaking about the flood. But this is not the flood in the sense that what has been is what will be. But this is speaking of a future time, because this is speaking in terms of them coming from the astrological lesson, like him speaking about different cycles, different eras, different epochs, different eons, grouping of different ages. So he was speaking of an age to come after the age that they were looking at, because they're looking at time, they're looking at these luminaries. So they shall transgress and think themselves gods. And this to me actually corresponds to the times when Jesus is now referring back to Noah. They were referring to this time, which is the days of sinners. Okay, this is what I think. This is what these are the times that Jesus was talking about. So they shall transgress and think themselves gods, while evil shall be multiplied among them, and punishment shall come upon them, so that all of them shall be destroyed. So this is actually speaking about all of them who are doing all of these things, because God will preserve the righteous. He said, O Enoch, look on the book which heaven has gradually dropped down. So this book just floated from heaven, floated down. Wow. Wait, aren't they already in heaven? So it came from even higher. In reading that which is written in it, understand every part of it. This is why we're reading this book. This is that book. Then I looked on all which was written and understood all, reading the book and everything in it, all the works of man, all the children of the flesh upon, during the generations of the world. Immediately after I blessed the Lord, the King of glory, who has thus forever formed the whole workmanship of the world, and I glorified the Lord on account of his long suffering and blessing towards the children of the world. At that time I said, blessed is the man who shall die righteous and good, against whom no catalogue of crime has been written, and with whom iniquity is not found. You see, so God will preserve the righteous. Then those three holy ones caused me to approach. The three holy ones. Explain more, please. The three holy ones. So it's cherubim, seraphim, and alphanin, I think, caused me to approach and placed me on the earth before the door of my house. And they said to me, explain everything to Methuselah thy son, and inform all thy children, and no flesh shall be justified before the Lord, for he is their creator. During 1 year we will leave thee with thy children, until thou shalt again recover thy strength, that thou may instruct thy family. Write these things and explain them to all thy children. But in another year they shall take thee from the midst of them. But in another year they shall take thee from the midst of them, and thy heart shall be strengthened. For the elect shall point out righteousness to the elect. For the elect shall point out righteousness to the elect. The chosen shall point out righteousness to the chosen. Elect, select, elect, chosen. Okay? And many are called. Select, so you call someone. You select your words, select the name, then you can call them. So the elect shall point out righteousness to the elect. The righteous with the righteous shall rejoice, rejoin, rejoice, enjoy, enjoyment, enjoy, congratulating each other. But sinners with sinners shall die. So again, this is emphasized in the same statement that I was speaking of, people perishing, but the elect, the righteous, will rejoice. And the perverted with the perverted shall be drowned. Now it's speaking about the flood, but it's speaking about the delusion, the delusion, the deluge, the delusion. So it's speaking about a certain type of drunkenness that comes upon the earth. Funny that the angels say that when you regain your strength, recover your strength. Was he tired from being in heaven? Or assume like he's even more, like, I don't know. And those, yeah, should be like, like I've been in heaven, yo. I was eating light. So you come back like re-energized. Okay. So 11. Those likewise who act righteously shall die on account of the works of man, and shall be gathered together on account of the works of the wicked. Those likewise who act righteously shall die on account of the works of man, and shall be gathered together on account of the works of the wicked. In those days they finished conversing with me. And I returned to my fellow men, blessing the Lord of the worlds. Oh, now this is important. Now he's saying the Lord of the worlds. He was saying the Lord of spirits, Ancient of days, Holy One. Now, Lord of the worlds. Because he was seeing all of the stars, all of the planets, all of the galaxies, nebulas, different things. Now, my son Methuselah, all these things I speak unto thee, and write for thee. To thee I have revealed all, and have given thee books of everything. So you see, this is the book that floated down, and Enoch was told to study it. This is what we're reading. So all of those things that Uriel was speaking to him, like, as much as your faith will take you, this is a book in heaven, made from heaven, and that floated down to earth. In the same way that Enoch was in heaven, came back down to earth, in the same way that Enoch lived on earth and was just translated into heaven, is the same way we have this book, which is a big deal. So, preserve, my son Methuselah, the books written by thy father, that thou may transmit them to future generations. So they were speaking about future generations, sort of like time travel, but it's like prophecy in a sense that they are very engaged in a, a very, very distant future, like right now. Like they were speaking to me before there was a flood, they were speaking to you in the past and directly to you, not in a way like, yeah, speaking to mankind. Not everyone gets to hear this, not everyone gets to read this. So the elect, they were speaking to you. Wisdom I have given to thee, to thy children, and thy posterity, that they may transmit to their children for generations forever this wisdom in their thoughts, and that those who comprehend it may not slumber. Imagine that. Hear that. Wisdom in their thoughts. So after hearing this, you're going to get so energized that there's certain things that in your life you will have to resolve. You can't go to sleep without resolving something, without accomplishing something. without applying your wisdom to something. This wisdom in their thoughts, and that those who comprehend it may not slumber. When you understand, you will not sleep before you get certain things in order. This is how this works. Because it's speaking about the order of the stars, how they're all arranged, they're all synchronized. They don't slumber. The influences is always there. So it's speaking about how all of that is in order. And the same way, when you comprehend it, you will not slumber, but hear with thy ears, that they may learn this wisdom, and be deemed worthy of eating this wholesome food. This is food. Wow. Wow. I'm going to read that again. Wisdom have I given to thee, to thy children, and thy posterity, that they may transmit to their children for generations, forever, this wisdom in their thoughts, and that those who comprehend it may not slumber, but hear with their ears, that they may learn this wisdom, and be deemed worthy of eating this wholesome food. Blessed are all the righteous. Blessed all who walk in the paths of righteousness, in whom no crime is found, as in sinners when all their days are numbered. With respect to the progress of the sun in heaven, it enters and goes out of each gate for 30 days, with the leaders of the 1,000 classes of the stars, with 4 which are added, and are pertain to the 4 quarters of the year, which conduct them, and accompany them at 4 periods. Respecting these, men greatly err, and do not compute them in the computation of every age. Wow. For they greatly err respecting them, nor do men know accurately that they are in the computation of the year. But indeed these are marked down forever, 1 in the first gate, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 1 in the sixth, so that the year is completed in 364 days. Truly has been stated, and accurately has been computed, that which is marked down for the luminaries, the months, the fixed periods, the years, the days. Uriel has explained to me and communicated to me, whom the Lord of all creation on my account commanded, according to the might of heaven, and the power which it possesses both by night and by day, to explain the laws of light to men, of the sun, moon, and stars, and of all the powers of heaven which are turned with their respective orbs. This is the ordinance of the stars, which set in their places, in their seasons, in their periods, in their days, in their months. These are the names of those who conduct them to wash and enter in their seasons according to their ordinance, in their periods, in their months, in their times, in their influence, in their stations. 4 conductors of them shall enter, who separate the 4 quarters of the year. After these, 12 conductors of their classes, who separate the months and the year into 364 days, with the leaders of 1,000 who distinguish between the days, as well as between 4 additional ones, which as conductors divide the 4 quarters of the year. These leaders of 1,000 are in the midst of the conductors, and the conductors are added each behind his station, and their conducts make a separation. These are the names of the conductors, who separate the 4 quarters of the year, who are appointed over them: Melkel, Helamelach, Melial, Narel. And the names of those who conduct them are Adnarel, Jususal, Jelumiel. These are the 3 who follow after the conductors of the classes of stars, each following after 3 conductors of the classes, which themselves follow after those conductors of the stations, who divide the 4 quarters of the year. In the first part of the year rises and rules Melchias, who's named Tamani, and Zahai, All the days of his influence during which he rules are 91 days. And these are the signs of the days which are seen upon earth. In the days of his influence, there is perspiration, heat, and trouble. All the trees become fruitful. The leaf of every tree comes forth. The corn is reaped. The rose and every species of flower blossoms in the field, and the trees of winter are dried up. These are the names of the conductors who are under them: Barkel, Zelsabel, other additional conductor of 1,000 named Heloyalef. The days of all these influence have been completed. The other conductor next after him are Melech, whose name they call Splendid Zahai. All the days of light are 91 days. These are the signs of the days upon earth: heat and drought, while the trees bring forth their fruit, warmed and concocted, and give their fruits to dry. The flocks follow the yeen. All the fruits of the earth are collected, with everything in the fields, and the vines are trodden. This takes place during the time of his influence. These are their names and orders, the names of the conductors who are under them. Of those who are chiefs of 1,000, Gadayel, Kiel, Heel, and the name of the additional leader of 1,000 is Asphael. The days of his influence have been completed. And now I have shown thee, my son Methuselah, every sight which I saw prior to thy birth. I will relate another vision, which I saw before I was married. They resemble each other. The first was when I was learning a book, the other before I was married to thy mother. I saw a potent vision, and on account of these things besought the Lord. I was laying down in the house of my grandfather Mahalalel. Alright, wait. Alright, so here I want us to start these visions later on. So as far as I can see, I guess we've now completed this part. So let's stop here, and we'll pick it up later. Yeah, this was pretty fun. I pretty much enjoyed it. So I'll see you soon.